Hello and welcome to the Football Parliament podcast. Here for all your football related topics, debates, and opinions. Here with me, I've got three Chelsea fans Tanish, Tiwari, Chirag, Gupta, and Palash Modi. And I'm your oil money Sheikh Rishabh Kumar from Manchester City. Today, we're going to be talking about our Premier League team of the season. Now, we've seen Monday Night Football. We've seen that they haven't made the best of teams. So today, all of us are going to sit down, give our own opinions about who was the best throughout the entire season, and we're going to make an 11 from it. So, Palash, why don't you start us off?
Right then. So before starting the video, also I would like to ask my audience if you all could subscribe to our channel. We've been posting very regularly, and your subscribe would be a lot of motivation to all of us. But now let's get to the video. Let's get to the topic, and let's start with the 11 with the 4-3-3 standard formation. First up, goalkeeper Chirag, Tanish. Do you all have Edward Mendy in mind?
No,
Right then,
actually,
Personally, I
I'm
do not.
I'm going with Emmy Martinez,
Emmy Martinez.
simply
Okay.
because he has faced a lot more shots as compared to an Edward Mendy or say an Edison, or even an Allison for that matter. And the fact that he has still kept so many clean sheets and still he has made so many saves, and for Villa to be where they are, I think Aston Villa's Emmy Martinez has been an immense goalkeeper this season.
Oh, so Tanish has gone for Emmy Martinez. Chirag, would you agree with this pick?
Yes, I too wanted, like, I am tempted to go towards Edward Mendy, but definitely I want to go for Emmy Martinez because he has been consistently performing very well last time, and this time around they were around the European spot, not in the European spots, but they were around the European spots for most of the season. So definitely a change that has been brought among them is Emmy Martinez. Definitely, he has conceded fourth most shots in the whole league and is in fourth most saves made. And the above three above him are all the keepers who are from who are from teams that lag very low in the Premier League table, who concede most shots. So definitely, according to me, Martinez deserves the spot over Mendy or Ederson.
Really like the fact that you all have been so unbiased over here and gone for Emmy Martinez over someone like Edward Mendy, which could be a conventional pick. Rishabh, what about you? Would you go for Martinez, Mendy,
Um,
Edison?
so, being totally biased, my opinion would have been Edison or Edward Mendy. But now, thinking about it for another second, I would go for Emiliano Martinez. But when you think of Emiliano Martinez, I think of Nick Pope from Burnley as well. He's from a
Hmm,
team, with probably one of the worst defenses in the league we've
true.
seen. We've got people like Ben Mee in defense, and you're attacked with Dwight McNeil and Vidra. Although Burnley have conceded 57 goals this season, only two errors were made by Nick Pope, and it's a 50-50. But I have to agree with Tanish and Chirag when it comes to Emiliano Martinez. He's made nine more saves than Edison and Edward Mendy, if I'm not wrong. One of you all mentioned it.
Both of them
So
combined. Nine more
both of
saves
them
than both of them
combined.
combined. Yeah, it's quite a
Both of
good
them
So
season.
combined.
impressive.
So Emiliano Martinez deserves the spot.
We kick off our team with a player outside the big six, you would say. Quite interesting to see. Moving on to the right back
But still
position.
has 14 clean sheets. Can we imagine 14 clean sheets?
Yeah,
Just behind
that,
Chelsea and Man City.
Man City.
I mean, Arsenal would be
At least we
crying right now.
understand the concept
They sold
of
Martinez
what.
and kept Leno with themselves. I know. What were they thinking before doing that? Anyway, we move on to the right back position. Rishabh, your team has some good quality right backs. We could see that in probably, I think it was Guy Neville's team. He picked Kyle Walker. There's also Joao Cancelo. So would you vouch for either of them as your right back pick of this team?
Um, Normally, I would have gone for someone like, Luke Ayling from Leeds United. Most tackles for a right back, most minutes played by a right back in the league, only missing around 20. But when you think of, the most team contributions anyone has ever made this season from a right back position, it has got to be Joao Cancelo. His attacking prowess is so good, putting in those final balls and putting those crosses in, scoring goals with his weak foot for that matter from outside the box, playing as a false midfielder, falling back, and his defense has also been on point this season, a major improvement from last season. So Joao Cancelo takes the spot for me.
And Tanish, what about you?
I think I'm going to completely agree with Rishabh over here because Joao Cancelo has not just been used as a right back, but he has been used in a number of roles. He has been used at left back, he has been used in central midfield or a false midfielder even, and he has been charged with both progressing the ball and defending, because you know that everyone knows that teams like to play on the counter against Man City simply because how good they are on the ball. And to play the part that Joao Cancelo has played and to have the impact that he has had, I think it's just absolutely phenomenal this season, and he definitely deserves a spot in the team of the season for me.
Well, two picks for Joao Cancelo would have most probably sealed it for him. But just to ask Chirag, would you agree with Cancelo as well?
Yes, I will agree with Cancelo here because that guy, just before the last month was not so good for him, where he was not performing to his best. But before that, I would have even had him in my top five players for the whole season. Rather, even out of the box choice for the player of the season as well. The way he was performing, carrying the whole Man City team during the great streak they had, the winning streak when they were having, Cancelo and Gundogan were the two guys who were leading the team from the back and the front.
Right, then
What
we
about you? You choose for your right back position.
see
Does it
personally,
even matter?
well, it doesn't, but
I know. I just out of curiosity.
the reason which pushes me a bit against Joao Cancelo over here. Two reasons, to be honest. One is that he hasn't played at right back all the times. Obviously, it's a merit to him considering his versatility, but we are going for a right back over here. Secondly, I found it a bit amazing and a bit, understandable how Gary Neville has gone for a right back which belongs to the same club, yet not Joao Cancelo, which is Kyle Walker. But then, if you also look at it in a way that he isn't facing a lot of competition, Reece James has been good, but has he been a team of the season good? I don't think so. Trent has had a disappointing season. Van Bissaka,
Good season.
not that. I mean, he's been good. Obviously, he's worked on his offensive game, but again, team of the season kind of season, I don't think so. So yeah, thinking about it again, I'll go for Joao Cancelo as well.
Oh, all
So
four of us. Interesting.
what?
All four of us went for the same pick, so it's kind
Yeah,
of a rare
that,
thing.
that's quite rare. I think even for Martinez, all four of us have
Yeah.
gone for Martinez. It's going quite well,
Refreshing.
mutual understanding so far. But this is one position where I can expect there would be not so much mutual understanding because it is the second centre back pick. The first one is my suggestion would be Ruben Diaz. The reason why I've put it so straightforward is because I believe that the three of you would agree with Diaz as well.
Yes, 100%. I mean, Ruben Diaz has been amazing this season. I'm almost apprehensive to say, but he's maybe that Vincent Company replacement that City have been looking for. Maybe, maybe not.
That's a big
But
statement to
he
make.
has just been he has just been a rock at the back entire season. I think he's just made one mistake in the entire season, which was against Liverpool, if I'm not wrong. And he's just so impressive to watch along with that partnership of maybe John Stones or Aymeric Laporte or whatever, whoever plays with him. He has been so consistent. His defensive prowess is unbelievable. He's quick. He's good on the ball. He reads the game very well. And I think Ruben Diaz is just an undisputed pick at
Definitely,
this
I
one
don't think
spot
this
at
is even
least.
up for debate. I'm pretty sure all four of us do agree on Ruben Diaz. Rishabh, do you think he's a Ballon d'Or contender in very short?
Um,
Oh,
it's actually quite an interesting question. But the fact of the matter is Ruben Diaz has a lot of hype around him, as have many players, who recently joined a big club for a huge transfer fee. Ruben Diaz has definitely lived up to the expectation, but the hype around him is still quite a lot. So maybe after another season or two, maybe we could see him as a Ballon d'Or contender like Virgil van Dijk. He took 2 or 3 seasons to come second to Lionel Messi in the Ballon d'Or awards, and I feel
Like
Ruben
to be
Diaz
honest, if I
needs
see
some more time.
if I Manchester City are winning the Premier League, they have won the EFL Cup. If they go on to win the Champions League and Portugal go on to win the Euros, and Diaz plays an instrumental role in it, France's football's you can say emphasis on international trophies as well. I don't see why Diaz is not a contender for the trophy. That's a debate for
Agreed.
another day. For now, we have to focus on second centre back. So, Chirag, who do you think is the second centre back should find his team or place in this team?
So we have had a lot of great centre backs this time because we have seen a lot of teams turning to a three at the back. So seeing a lot of centre backs performing at the best is definitely something we should consider. But personally, I will go for a unconventional pick, and that has to be Thiago Silva. That guy, since like he was a free transfer to Chelsea, he caused no penny to coming to Chelsea. But what everyone predicted was that he will go in his overall, he will not be performing so well over the season, and he will be dipping in his form due to the age, and he will not be able to play all the matches as well. But we have seen that guy not just under Tuchel. Under Tuchel, Chelsea has been the best defensive side, and that is all over the Europe, not just England. So also in the Lampard's run, Lampard had a great 16 to 17 game unbeaten streak where he performed so well. He and Zuma were so clinical for Chelsea. Both they were scoring headers as well. They were defensively great as well. And according to me, Thiago Silva deserves the spot. He just made one mistake, I would say, against West Brom in his debut match in the Premier League. But rather than that, he has been performing so well over the whole season. I think Thiago Silva deserves the spot over anyone.
Tanish, keeping your bias aside, Thiago Silva over likes of Harry Maguire, John Stones.
Yeah, I think I am going to keep my bias aside when I pick Thiago Silva, simply because this is not my bias speaking, but simply because Harry Maguire has been great and he is the statistically best centre back. But I don't see Ruben Diaz and Harry Maguire as a great pairing, first of all. Second, Harry Maguire has not had the impact on Manchester United as much as, say, a Thiago Silva has had on the Chelsea defense. Bear in mind that Chelsea defense was just abysmal at times, like even last season. And he's one of the very few players that you can actually pick out and say that he has played well both under Lampard and under Tuchel. So I think Thiago Silva definitely goes in there. Definitely.
Rishabh, what about you?
Um, it's hard to argue, but personally, I would have like chosen Harry Maguire purely based on his stats. But when it comes to watching the matches, I can't help but agree with Tanish over the fact that Chelsea's defense has been transformed not only because of Tuchel, but when Thiago Silva came in. It was unfortunate the matches against Liverpool and West Bromwich, but you can see the crazy effect that he's had on Chelsea's defense, the same way Ruben Diaz has had an impact on our defense. So I feel Thiago Silva does fit into this. He is a proper leader. He can control the central defense, and he makes it into my team.
Just to add one question, I would like to ask Tanish over here, since Harry Maguire is in one of the contenders. Maguire has actually played all 34 of the games, while Thiago Silva has played a mere 20 out of the 35 games. Maguire has played 34 out of 34. So, for a centre back, you need consistency, and you need a centre back who plays week in and week out, and missing 40 games due to injury or whatever reason. So, would you still pick Thiago Silva over someone who's played all the games?
I think I would still pick, maybe this is just my bias speaking. At this point, I can't even differentiate. But as I said earlier, the effect that he has had on this Chelsea defense, I think, is greater this season than what Harry Maguire has had on United. And I firmly stand by my opinion that Thiago Silva should be.
Right, then we will have the veteran Brazilian centre back Thiago Silva, quite a formidable centre back duo of Ruben Diaz and Thiago Silva. Moving on to the left back position, Chirag, you could state your pick.
I don't think anyone will have a doubt over this player. It has to be Manchester United's left back Luke Shaw. That guy is was considered as a meme player, like more like Phil Jones. He was getting so bashed on the social media all over that he cannot even play football. But according to me, the way he has stepped up this season, he definitely deserves a spot as the best left back this season. Because if we see, Manchester United themselves did not trust him. They got in Alex Telles, one of the most known left backs all over the Europe, to just replace him. But Luke Shaw has been giving performances that he has shown that he is not even going to move out of this squad, because the way he is performing is just next level, both offensively and defensively.
So Luke Shaw, Rishabh and Tanish, do you all agree with the inclusion of Luke Shaw?
Yeah, I'm going to agree
Um,
with Luke Shaw as well, completely.
I'm actually gonna disagree here a little bit because although Luke Shaw, when it comes to most improved players throughout the season all over the world, Luke Shaw is the number one that comes to mind. But a very close second would be Alexander Zinchenko of Manchester City. In a squad filled with the biggest talents like you could ever find in England under Pep Guardiola of all people. You have to be at your very best. Granted, the last season and the season before weren't exactly the best for him, but this season he's been absolutely phenomenal defensive wise. Some would even compare him to Ashley Cole back at Arsenal instead of his time at Chelsea. So personally, for me, I would choose Alexander Zinchenko over Luke Shaw.
Alexander
I
Zinchenko is
think one
actually,
reason why
yeah,
so sorry. One reason why Luke Shaw gets ahead of Alexander Zinchenko is because of his attacking prowess. Now, he's just as good defensively, in my opinion. And Luke Shaw, there was a point, I think a month ago, where he had created the same number of chances in 2021 as Lionel Messi. Now, that is very impressive for a left back. And solely from the dual contributions that you generally get from Luke Shaw in probably every game, I think that makes him a clear favorite for this position.
right
And
then
by
with
the time you are adding his name, I will just add the point like we all know Luke Shaw has been performing so well over Zinchenko. I would still say is because if we consider the Man City back four, the weakest point I will say is Zinchenko. But if I consider Man United's back four, the best part is Luke Shaw this season.
that's actually a very good point if you think about it.
It's a very good point.
Very well said. So moving on, we actually have three Manchester players in the back four. Interesting, along with Thiago Silva. Moving on to the
Both
midfield
are
three.
sitting on top of the table. They deserve it.
Yeah, you're right. Moving on to the midfield three, it's a very highly competitive area. You've got a number of good quality defensive mids, a number of good quality box to box players. Even you could say, the attacking mids have to be fit in this three because we're going for a flat 4-3-3. So let's start with the defensive mid position. Actually, looking at one of the teams, I think it was Gary Neville's team. He's gone for Gundogan, Bruno, and De Bruyne, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me because he's not got for for a orthodox defensive mid or natural defensive mid, which is quite an essential to every team. He's just gone for the three best midfielders, which don't necessarily make a lot of balance and a lot
Yes,
of sense
exactly.
over here. So in my particular suggestion to here would be that we should go for a natural DM. Saying that, Tanish, your pick.
Yeah, there have been a number of CDMs which come to mind when you look at the Premier League this season. You think of Fernandinho, but the one that stands out for me clearly, or Jorginho or Conte even, but one that stands out for me is Calvin Phillips from Leeds. Now he is someone who is exceptional every time he plays. His passing range is ridiculous. The way he protects his back four, which is not a very good one, to be very honest. Leeds defense is not that good. He protects the back four, and I think he is a major defensive roadblock when it comes to trying to block the attacks directly on the back four simply because of how aggressive Leeds play. And his work rate, his industry, his style of play, and his tactical adaptability, even it has been exceptional to watch. And he gets around the pitch so consistently, and he has made his England debut this season as well. I think it's a clear pick for me, at least, that Calvin Phillips has to go in there.
Well, I would say this is one pick which is not discussed about enough. I haven't seen a lot of people include Calvin Phillips in this kind of discussion, but we will take the views of the other two people here as well. Chirag, starting with you, who is your pick for defensive mid position?
According to me, my pick for the defensive mid here will be according to me. See, I have seen a lot of great players. Someone we do not mention is Jorginho. Like we all know, Chelsea is performing so well defensively and is carrying the ball well under Tuchel as well as under Lampard. But the one guy we all do not mention is Jorginho. That guy is so well, doing so good with ball and in his feet. He's performing day in and day out. He's playing most of the matches. Considering Chelsea has a great depth in midfield, but still no one mentions him. Also, I would just pitch in for someone we do not consider even for this position because of his team's league position. That is Bissouma. That guy is performing so well and is getting offers from big top six clubs now. So definitely he has a season to reckon. Uh, Rishabh, your pick.
Um, when it comes to defensive midfielders, it's a bit hard not to be biased. Fernandinho, Jorginho are the names that come to mind. But personally, I'd have to agree with Tanish. It has to be Calvin Phillips. At such a young age to connect, the back four of Leeds United to the front three, with Adioski, Bamford, and Rafinha. It takes not only a lot of patience, but a lot of hard work and talent as well. And I feel that Calvin Phillips has proven how instrumental he is. So I would pick Calvin Phillips as well.
Oh, so I think it has to be Calvin Phillips over anyone right now. But definitely one more pick I am sure Palash will have is Suchek. What is your take, Palash?
Definitely, actually, I was going to go for Thomas Suchek because of the impact that he has had on West Ham, uh, dragging them from a relegation battling side to a side that's competing for Champions League football, something that top teams like Tottenham and Arsenal aren't doing as well. He is instrumental. He's the complete defensive midfielder. You could say that he's box to box as well, but he's doing everything. He's winning those aerial duels. He's tackling, intercepting. He's scoring a lot of goals. 9 goals from defensive mid is quite good. He's got the aerial presence on both sides of the pitch while defending corners, free kicks at his own penalty box and scoring them in the opposition penalty box. Thomas Suchek was the pick for me, but since the two of you all have gone for Calvin Phillips, I think that we will head in this direction. Talking about midfielders, let's talk about the number eight. Two number eights that we've got to pick. We can also include the CAMs or the attacking mid positions over here, since that is the kind of formation that we're going for. Starting with the Manchester City fan over here, some very strong contenders for Manchester City with Gundogan, De Bruyne. Who are your two number eights or center midfielders? Rishabh.
I'll be very frank when it comes to Manchester City and its center mids. You kind of can't help but think of the consistency. Now, agreed, Ilkay Gundogan has been absolutely phenomenal this season, filling in for Kevin De Bruyne when he was injured. But then again, these are the kind of performances you'd expect from Manchester City players. They have to be consistent. It kind of gets a little repetitive, seeing them in everybody's team of the season. But personally, to pick someone would for me would be Mason Mount. Living under the shadow of the likes of Kevin De Bruyne, Bruno Fernandes. He's actually third in the league for the most chances created. He's been absolutely phenomenal this season. A big improvement from the season before, and he has actually been extremely instrumental under Thomas Tuchel and Frank Lampard as well for the race for the Premier League title and also currently the race to get into the top four. So Mason Mount makes the first spot for me. The second one can't be complete, without someone like Kevin De Bruyne or Bruno Fernandes. But I have to go with Bruno Fernandes on this one. This season, he's been absolutely phenomenal. He's actually, for me, he leads, the race for PFA Player of the Year award simply because of the impact he's had on Chelsea, the way Ruben Diaz has an impact on Manchester City. So for me, Bruno Fernandes has to take the second number eight spot. And there couldn't be a more complete midfield than these three.
Rishabh has suggested Bruno Fernandes and Mason Mount. Chirag and Tanish, do you all have any other players in mind? Because these are the exact two players that I had thought of.
Yes,
I
I
think
will
I've,
definitely. Yeah, Tanish, please.
I think I'll completely agree with Rishabh because Mason Mount has been one of the most improved players in terms of goals, assists, chances created, tactical flexibility, versatility. He has played everywhere in midfield, everywhere in attack. And I think Bruno Fernandes is just a ridiculously easy pick. He has 27 goals and 15 assists this season. So it just makes it very easy to get this midfield right.
Quite a good midfield
Yes,
three of Mount, Phillips, Fernandes. We've got youth, we've got work rate, we've got energy and creativity. So if we have agreed on midfield, we shall move further forward with the left wing position, starting with Tanish.
I'm going with someone who might some people might find a bit overrated, and sometimes even I do. But I'm going for Marcus Rashford on the left wing over someone like a Human Son or a Phil Foden, simply because Rashford has been improving every season. I think he has hit 20 goals this season, and over or under maybe somewhere around the 10 assists region as well. He has been so impressive, and it's scary to think that he's just 22 and how good he can be. It- Manchester United's academy is very fortunate to have a player like him, and he might be overused this season, but I'm definitely going for Marcus Rashford.
So Tanish, you've gone for Marcus Rashford, but Heung-min Son, who's also a left winger, has actually, I think he's got 10 assists along with 17 goals while playing for a much weaker team. So Talking about Rishabh and Chirag, would you all go for a Son, Rashford, or someone completely different? Chirag first.
See, I will, yeah, for someone very different. Like we all know how well Man City are performing this season, and the credits to their attacking outlet, it has to go to somewhere to Phil Foden. You all will argue to the fact that this guy is not starting every game, has been not performing really well, but we have to see the impact of the bench as well. The impact that he creates off the bench whenever he comes, the game changes for Pep Guardiola. Pep Guardiola trusting someone with this young and that guy performing so well. According to me, Phil Foden takes the spot.
Phil Foden, talking about Phil Foden, the Manchester City fan. Rishabh, do you agree with the inclusion of Foden?
I completely agree with the inclusion of Phil Foden, not necessarily because of my bias, but of this fact that, like, I think a lot of the viewers and you people on the podcast as well know is that Manchester City is a team filled, brewing with talent, waiting to just get onto the field. And, when you have like the likes of Bernardo Silva, Riyad Mahrez, Raheem Sterling on the wings, it is very hard to break through. And Phil Foden being a younger player, 20-year-old, this season he's got 7 goals and 5 assists, although they might not seem like huge numbers, but he's been absolutely instrumental in our attack. When you can't rely on people like Raheem Sterling and Riyad Mahrez in consistency, sometimes you rely on Phil Foden, who's been consistent this season. In the start of the season as well, he has single-handedly, made us win or draw games which we could have very well lost. Case in point being the West Bromwich game and the West Ham United game, at the start of the season. And the last 20-year-old Pep Guardiola did trust, who was brewing with talent, is, the GOAT, Lionel Messi. And I feel like, Pep Guardiola can, release Phil Foden's full potential into this Manchester City squad. So Phil Foden makes it onto the left wing.
I think we might have a bit of disagreement over here because we've got two votes for Foden. I personally would have gone for. It was very neck to neck between Son or Rashford. After listening to Tanish's explanation, I can see why Rashford. So probably we can say one of us have to change their minds over here to agree on something. We've got two votes for Rashford, two for Foden. What should we do now?
Okay, just to add, Marcus Rashford is, got like probably one of the best teams in Europe, not to say the Manchester City doesn't. It's just that, Marcus Rashford has been putting in, the numbers season after season, increasing every season, like Tanish had mentioned before. But, Phil Foden just broke onto the scene way better than Marcus Rashford did this season for a 20-year-old. At least, with my bias that, breaking into such a talent brewing team, it takes a lot of courage, a lot of hard work. And Phil Foden, for me, has shown that kind of work rate, not only on the field, but off the field as well. So, that is why he should be picked over Marcus Rashford.
I think we will give Foden the age advantage over here. The fact that he's just 20 and the kind of impact that he has had on Manchester City, and the fact that Rishabh desperately wants Foden so clearly, we will go for Phil Foden.
He is in contention. For me, he is in the contention for PFA Young Player of the Year, with Mason Mount. So these are my top two. So it would be a crime not to have either, both of them in the squad.
Right. Now the opposite flank, which is the right flank, starting with Chirag.
Oh yes, see, I will here put in a conventional name, the name that used to appear every in every team in the last 2 or 3 years. Like this guy team is not performing so well, but definitely the man has stepped up to his expectations. That is Mohammed Salah. That guy, I personally am not a so big fan of Mohamed Salah, but that guy is putting up goals like he used to do. 20 goals this season, 5 assists, 25 goal contributions in a league. When your team is not performing so well, and you are lacking behind even for the European spot, I definitely think Mohamed Salah has lived up to the expectations, and he deserves the spot. More often, I would just add the point that Sadio Mane and Roberto Firmino are not stepping up this season and have not performed this season. So the whole of the burden of the whole Liverpool team has to go to someone named Mohamed Salah, according to me.
And what about Rishabh?
Um, I completely agree with Chirag here. There is absolutely no bias. Being a Manchester City fan, I would want to put the likes of Real Mahrez in for his consistent performances this season. But you can't lie with the numbers. 21 goals, 3 assists. For somebody who runs down the wing like 99% of the time. Mohammed Salah feels like one of those players. Liverpool relies on second to Virgil van Dijk. So for me, yes, Mohammed Salah does have to make it into this team.
And Tanish, finally, do you agree with Mohamed Salah as well?
Yeah, I think I would no, I won't agree with Mohamed Salah simply because he's not a striker. And wait, are we talking about a right winger?
Yeah, we're
Right,
talking
Kumar?
about the right winger.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. My apologies. Then I think I will have to go for I'll have to go for Salah simply because he has been so good and so consistent in a not so consistent Liverpool side. Yes, he has missed chances, but that is a part of Salah's charm now, isn't it? And to to look at that attack, which has been struggling all season, to think where they are right now, to even be challenging for the Champions League spots without the likes of Virgil van Dijk. I think Salah deserves massive credit for where Liverpool are currently. And yes, I think definitely he should be in the squad as a right winger.
Yeah, I think there's a case of a lack of competition as well over here. We cannot see many, proper right wingers who would have
True.
done extremely well this season. I would just like to mention that yesterday on Monday Night Football, Gary Neville has actually gone for Marcus Rashford on the right wing, a player that's been
What?
amazing but on the left wing. And as far as I've seen, I've asked United fans, I've seen replays, seen highlights, seen the live games. He isn't half the player he is on the right wing. He's much better on the left wing. So, and Gary Neville also spoke about that he hasn't had a single DM in his team. So, it was quite a surprise looking at his team, to be very honest. Right, then moving on to the last position in the team, it is the striker position. Uh, Chirag, should we start with the audience?
I don't think we should even debate over this. This has to be Harry Kane, the person who is having the most assists, the most goals in this season. Definitely, he deserves the spot. I do not think Rishabh and Tanish would even disagree on this fact.
Yeah, I would agree
I
on
think
Harry
I've
Kane
been
as
a
well.
Hurricane.
So do we
Go
have
on, go on, Rishabh.
four Hurricanes over here?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not only
definitely.
the Hurricanes, like probably the most natural finisher in the Premier League right now. Just to bring out Mason Greenwood, he is the second most natural goal
Finisher.
scorer. Alan Shearer has said this himself, against Aston Villa, but Harry Kane, definitely you can't argue with the numbers he's put in this season under Jose Mourinho. Like Chirag said, top goal scorer, and he's got the
Top
most
assister.
assists. Top assist as well. During the beginning of the season, I really thought Harry Kane was going to break Thierry Henry's record, but 3 matches to go. It's very unpredictable. We can only wait and see.
Let's see.
Just one
Also,
question to the panel. Do you
yeah,
think Harry Kane should leave Spurs?
I think the answer
And
is
to which
yes.
club?
I don't think
Yeah.
anyone over here would say no.
To which club?
I mean, that really depends on Daniel Levy because I don't think he will sell Kane to a direct rival such as Manchester City
And
or Chelsea.
I
No,
will.
consider the ideal situation, like where he allows Kane to
If
go
I
wherever he
was
wants
I
to.
was in the shoes of Daniel Levy, I would respect what Kane has done for the club. I would respect how loyal he
Exactly.
has been despite the lack of trophies, and I would give him a free pass to move anywhere he wants.
Yeah. Personally, I think we can all agree to this. I think there is a position for him at Manchester City. With Sergio Aguero leaving the club at the end of the season, City playing a false nine, being strikerless throughout this entire season. Pep Guardiola somehow turn this false nine system into an almost foolproof thing, but we can't always be playing, with Kevin De Bruyne and Raheem Sterling as our mid attackers. And personally, Harry Kane, being the national finisher he is, he's wanted to win trophies. He's in his prime right now. Manchester City would probably be the best place for him. Since Edinson Cavani has signed a new contract with Manchester United, Leicester have got Jamie Vardy. Chelsea is overflowing with like really good strikers and amazing potential. And I feel
I have
Kane
a said
does
false
have
nine.
a spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Right,
Kane does have a spot at Manchester City.
it is a good team, but every good team requires a good manager. I just need one name, no explanation required. Starting with Chirag, one manager who's been the best this season.
Thomas Tuchel.
Thomas Tuchel. Okay, okay. Uh, sorry, Tanish. What about
I
you?
think we're talking about manager of the season, not half the season. And as much as I love Thomas Tuchel, I just have to go with Guardiola. he has dealt with so many issues. He had to revamp his defense. He had to think about how to deal with very inconsistent strikers and injury prone strikers. He came up with the false nine. He made it work. He has a number of people working in that position. He's bringing out the best from Phil Foden, and he has gone deep into so many competitions. He's won the Premier League, won the EFL Cup, and I think the Champions League final appearance is also a big achievement in itself, considering that you don't play with a striker. So I think it has to be Guardiola this time. It just
Rishabh, what
has to
about
be
you? Would
Guardiola.
you back your Spaniard
I
managers?
I agree with Tanish completely that Guardiola is the manager of the season. But when you talk about managers as well, one name that wouldn't ever come to mind, I feel like would be from the other side, would be Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He's second in the league. He's absolutely transformed. Man United that used to finish fifth, sixth. The last time under Mourinho, they finished eighth in the league, and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been instrumental. But Pep Guardiola takes away the cake.
Right, then we will have Pep Guardiola. I personally would have gone for David Moyes, but it is Guardiola. We've
Ooh,
got, yeah,
good
it is
shout.
quite a good looking team if you see over here.
So yeah, that's our team of the season for the Premier League.
Yep. Thank you guys. Do like, comment, and share, and do let us know your opinions in the comment section. See you all.
Thank you all.